I call upon the next keynote speaker, Mr. Balakumaran, founder and CEO, Brand Story. He's going to present the topic on employer branding and effective internal and external employer communications. I welcome Mr. Balakumaran here, and a short intro of him. From being a first-generation entrepreneur to becoming a serial entrepreneur, made Balakumaran, the 35-year-old management consultant and NIFT alumnus. Brand Story Digital, the first startup that he founded in 2014, today employs over 120 people providing digital media and brand solutions. Over the last 8 years, Mr. Bala has charted growth stories for over 500 plus brands across US, Middle East, and India. To these brands, he has lent his expertise by providing brand and digital strategies, implementing digital roadmaps, and delivering ROI on digital investments. He continuously strives to empower business and to adapt simplified tech solutions. Being an experienced professional in providing strategies with a 360-degree approach in the digital space, he specializes in brand and digital enablement. He has a proven experience in building, leading, and managing high-performance, cross-functional creator and marketing teams. His versatility spans brand management, e-commerce, digital transformation, and new business development. He extends his expertise as a CMO on demand to various brands across industries. An avid reader and a salsa and martial artist, Bala is open for collaboration across digital marketing, digital products, digital analytics, and growth accelerations. I welcome Mr. Bala once again to present the topic on employer branding and effective internal and external employer communications. Mr. Bala, please.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Thank you for the brief introduction.
Yes, I'm audible. Your video is turned on, and if you have any presentation, please share your screen so that everyone can view your presentation.
So just please let me...
we can see your screen. Okay, now it's good. Good to go.
Okay, all right. Perfect. Thank you so much for the brief introduction. And this employer branding communication, we are into action, primarily working with all high performance growth organization when they've been struggling to find great talent into their organization. So the problem statement arose. Then we are also dealing with the young people into the ecosystem who are, young people across the world who've been looking at to associate themselves with the brand or organization that they could able to answer their well-being. So today, unlike the 80s, 90s, the 2000s workforces that went to offices or went to work for living, for wages, and the other aspect. Today, the young workforces are also very social conscious and the other aspect. So there is a cross function of the 90s or early 80s. 80s and 90s. Kids who are in the decision-making and the bottom of the pyramid of the employees been built by large young people today come from a different era, technology, and understanding of the whole world itself. Now, that is a problem statement where the organization transformation need to bring in and to adapt through their right employer branding communication. So this is where the whole conversation of aspect that has been raised in the name of understanding what is employer branding as a context itself. So what is employer branding for us? So it kind of describes our promises from the employer point of view to an employees or potential employee candidates or the prospects, as we HR usually call it as, right? So what is the promise that we've been delivering to our potential prospect and employees through certain XYZ channels is what we describe as an employer branding. And the whole context of the employer branding or the communication or the context, it's not arrived by an external writer or an agency who could able to describe what is your employer branding. It kind of And okay, it's kind of communication that just resonates what we are internally to an external ecosystem. So an employer branding cannot be created, but it can act as a transparent communication that preaches out that what we are inside to the external, into the world. So that's how we describe employer branding. And why an organization need to do a company. So there are primary three metrics in the hiring space that we usually measure, which is time to hire, cost to hire, and quality of hire. So this is during the pre-recruitment stage itself. We will be measuring this stage. So what does it mean? A time to hire meaning how quickly we could be able to deploy a talent, and what is the cost that we have been paying to deploy a talent, and what is the quality outcome of that particular talent. So all these three contexts that we need to measure when we deploy a potential prospect into the system and continuously develop them, right? So it also helps in a better employee engagement post we boarded a particular prospect, and we continue to engage them. So to ensure that an employee feels home and also feels it's the right place that allows him to not only get benefit of the all our benefits that we've been offering from the organization, but also he feels that he's been part of the system that has been driving a mission to make some good into the world and so on, right? So a better brand, I mean, especially the large corporates traditionally doesn't have this problem statement in terms of acquiring large talent at scale. But the problem is, if even at the large enterprises, if they've been driving a niche segment, like let me say today, if they want to drive a quantum computing or AI modeling into the ecosystem, then very few talent has been available across landscapes, even at the territories that we usually go and hire. So India is a great talent landscape for the engineers who could speak English and also good in basic math. So similarly, you could able to figure out only few pockets across the world. But in these pockets, can we able to hire at scale where the other organization also competing to hire the same talent? So when there is some demand supply, even for an enterprise, the cost of the prospect is usually goes higher. So henceforth, we also need to ensure that when we are paying a top dollar for a hire, but we also need to ensure that the quality of the hire is also fits into across the ecosystem. So that's why these metrics have been extremely important in terms of when we do an employer branding. So when we understand what is employer branding, we also need to understand why we are doing what we are doing, and to have the better metrics on these three basics like time, cost, and quality is what we've been doing it. And it's extremely critical for small, medium enterprises who need to attract high quality talent competing against the enterprises who will be willing to pay a top dollar because of their the financial strength that they do have. So how an SMEs would be able to bring it in. So if you don't have a purpose that has been communicated to the potential prospect, we need to find what is that has been attracting to a potential prospect to join in subject matter expertise and so on. So, and SME business heads, CEOs and HR heads and HR leaders need to focus on the content that goes out to explain why this mission has been up there. And if not, the hiring or the cost will continuously keep going because of the demand supply gap into the ecosystem. All right. So how it helps? Okay. So a better employer brand helps you to ensure enhanced your prospect satisfaction. It kind of helps you, give you the competitive advantage, and also it kind of helps you in terms of overall benefits related to the company's reputation. It also helps you to access the new talent pool in terms of any niche segment that we've been going in. So another major challenge the HR leaders or the business leader go through is even the technology has been evolving so fast. Probably today we would draw a cycle. Technology could be relevant or irrelevant in a 3 or 5 years timeline framework, and we need to build the entire talent pool ecosystem to in support of an X mission that we're trying to build from the business point of view. So a good employer brand attracts right talent in volume, helps us to fit and engage together to achieve the business objective, is where it helps in the overall context. So we derived that what are the business impacts that this employer branding could able to bring in from the revenue point of view and also the employee performance point of view context. So the revenue point of it, whether investing in a good employer branding, does it make sense? So what is an ROI calculation that we will be arrived at? So we brought into these points in the name of, let me say, firstly, it helps us to identify the right potential candidates who've been volunteer to be part of us, and also building an employer brand awareness into the market and having brand equity in the name of the hiring spaces. And very, very important context is you could able to attract great talent at the lower cost. So you don't need to pay a premium if you have a good employer brand that kind of pull people towards your communication. And also you don't want to, you want to reduce the attrition rate that has been in. So there are certain technology companies that we work with. So we kind of see an attrition rate up to even 25 to 30%, which is alarming, because in 1.5 to 2 years, you almost lost, you will be losing around 50% of the talent, and that's a cost of hiring. Rehiring is become extremely expensive to it. So a good brand, good culture, good communication internally, the transparency that translate that we are of the people and by the people and for the people internally. So even talent that went out would come back because they kind of see that the likability aura around the brand that's been extremely higher. All right. So in terms of the employer performance context, from the hiring the high performance to onboarding the employees in terms of more effective channel, and also having an enhanced communication and the change management effectiveness. So this is a particular context that we would want it, because a motivated employees bring in massive change into the ecosystem. For example, when we work with the CXOs or the HR leaders in the name of cultural changes, because we cannot create a culture. For example, there are places that we say, hey, we want a culture video, and we go and try to understand the culture of the organization. We will see a pin drop silent in a massive 5,000 square foot floor, and the culture is just doesn't exist, and they want us to create one culture. Through only for communication, it's extremely impossible. So what we arrive at, we take this context, we try to bring in real cultural changes in terms of employee engagement, and that engagement program that evolves, then we'll capture into one content, and then that content has been translated out, identify programs that helps niche programs that kind of helps identify high performance into the ecosystem, and we continue build this communication for the employer branding context. So what does this communication mean? Okay, so the communication starts from there are 6 or 7 layers that we need to understand where this employer or potential candidates will get to understand, get to know us, to be part of us until the exit. There's a multiple communication touch point that we need to develop for our potential employees. So we need to understand, okay, so it starts from the pre-recruitment or into the orientation program itself, and jump towards the entire process of employee communication, where we do a top to bottom communication, meaning an employee be part of an organization and they don't even understand what is the vision and the mission of the organization, where we add value as an organization, and how we kind of take care of the entire ecosystem or communicate to the ecosystem. Then there is a communication failure that happens. Employees are being part of our overall program only for the wages or the revenues or the benefit they get, but they kind of not looking at on purpose that they could be associate themselves and to be proud about the whole context. Then also multiple communications around the performance management kind of helps an employee to do better. It's no more measurement of an employees to get more work done. It's more of the communication need to run through to help employee to perform better. So it's towards on the motivation side, not on the feedback side. So that's why we always deploy a methodology to have touch points in the name of feedback and coaching, or giving opportunity to coaching in from the well-being, flexibility, work-life balance, and the other context. And then there are L&D programs, rewards and recognition, and the facilities of the environment. So these have been important. For example, today we are also recommending CXOs to change the way your workspace look like. For example, today's young folks are not coming only to work, learn, socialize and meet people, but they're also looking forward very Instagramish, good-looking space, a vibrant space for them to be motivated to come every single day. So the facilities and environment is also a context has become extremely important for the candidates today. And out of all this top 1 to 6 program, the recruitment and orientation communication is the external communication. Many potential candidates, candidates out there, but very few are joining us. Reason being, how much your brand has been visible to the market. So you might think as a HR leader or CXO leader, do we need an employer branding function that we need to do? Or your marketing team, you're expecting your marketing team to do an employer context, then there is a fundamental gap that we figured out. Reason being, any of your employees struggle to introduce themselves, to tell them that, hey, I work for X organization, and this X organization do these function in XYZ verticals. Then these are the brands, primarily in SMEs and the high growth companies, been in a short form where we would be hiring high number of people. We kind of identify this wherever your potential, your existing employees find it difficult to explain what we are doing in the real time to to their own communities or social circle. We can understand there is a need of recruitment brand function that need to do it. So this recruitment conversation is what we call it as external communication for the employer branding. In this employer branding, so we divide this external communication into 3 layers. What we consider as the top of the funnel, where we need to consistently build communication around the brand, our philosophy, global appeal, opportunities, and aspiration. Aspiration is nothing but where the organization being led through. So today we also suggest most of the CXO's job is to sell vision today, because there are hundreds and thousands of people you want to lead, or even even just hundreds or even few tens of people. They would align themselves with you only they understand your overall vision, where you taking the company to, or where you want to take this group of high performing people in terms of the life. So the primary communication is around the brand that we need to build over a period of time. Now, how this communication to build in? So it could be a simple your LinkedIn post, which is an artwork within copywriting, but it also could be a brand walkthrough that kind of helps you to helps your potential prospect to understand what is our brand is look like, and what is the kind of the culture that we've been around it and all that. So now the second layer is the engagement, where the diversity and the culture component meets in. So is it for all, or is it for only for one set of potential prospect? What kind of leadership opportunities are being around? So this is a high time that we would able to promote high performing mid-level management teams in the name of leadership, so they could able to lead, because today and young or a mid-level manager who have been joining an organization X, they want to know what kind of team that we are already going to work in. So who's my leader? Looks like, does he sounds very authoritative, or it gives me glimpses of how friendly and intellect my leaderships and teams are, and so on. So building content around your macro and micro leadership within the organization pyramid, it becomes extremely important into the system. And also, this we wouldn't able to, let me say, this is being very lightly taken, because every organization has an L&D program. Most of the organization has registered with one of the online courses and given an access to every single employees and things like that. But are they truly evolving up? So a candidate comes and spend 3-4 years. Did they really learn and moved up in the curve of, let me say, their career progression and so on? Are the content that we need to build? So whenever there is a resection of the cost cutting, the first budget cut goes on the L&D space to save money. But L&D and upskill became extremely important for the new era of skill set that has been extremely rare to get it. So your existing skill set might already have the business understanding, customer understanding, and upskilling them through a right L&D program would move them up into context. So whether can we able to communicate this conversation out there to the potential prospect, by helping with the right testimonials or right L&D program managers. I'm sure large enterprises who have a dedicated department around it, but most of them get caught up with the operations, nitty-gritties of the L&D implementation on the real-time program. And every program manager need to act like the flag bearer for their own program, and every component or every department has an X percentage contribution to overall brand hiring and the and the employer brand communication that they want to do it. So layer 3, primarily we need to add the bottom of the funnel is an employee getting converted into a candidate. Not only the brand philosophy and the vision matches, not only the opportunities and the leadership abilities that are going to support him to be a better person, but also you need to match today's job role skill display and the personal attributes. So do our communication also explaining the job roles, what kind of people that the clarity. So I'm sure 90% of the HR who are watching Abhi right now. So primarily our job roles goes out only in the name of JD, and there is not much effort has been going after communicating what is important and what is not important in this context. So now how a program management on the employer branding falls across from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, and there are the mix of content that need to arrive at like on a periodical time. Either it could be monthly, quarterly, weekly, or even yearly. Whatever the process, content distribution, content development need to be part of this, the overall, the external communication. So what we figured it out is there are over 16 brand attributes, from the remuneration to benefits and perks to job satisfaction to the innovation in tech that happen in space, or the management, the organization. There are things that we boast about. Are the first layer of the 16 context that you could be able to create your content is all about, right? Then the layer 2, the brand can always communicate on the business milestones, the company culture, the team and the people, the workplace environment, L&D opportunities, balance well-being, and change and stability. So that could be a part of your other communication context. And then we can also speak about D&I. For example, matured organization like Deloitte, we would see they put like a lot of effort in Bangalore, which is a tech capital of the country. They put a lot of effort on D&I initiatives, and they've been pushing, building content, making their workspace extremely workable place for D&I context. That through our work experience we would see is. And then there are other environmental, social, and governance messaging. Probably, I'm sure 99% of the current employees itself may not even aware of what kind of CSR contribution that we as a brand has been contributing to it and so on. So this environmental, social and governance component gives them in a sense of ownership that they are also being part of this whole brand participation in these spaces, and every employee believes that they're also being part of this. They enable this context into the ecosystem. So these are the content hooks. From this content hooks, we'll be moving into, let me say, one, this has been created. Through this content, we'll create a multiple awareness. So we build awareness and the engagement program content around these content hooks, build an absolute user-friendly career pages, and build communication collaterals, and push it through as in recruitment ads. So the visibility of your positions, company culture is continuously build, visibility in the name of brand visibility, and also a better brand recall has been established. So through this methodology, you could able to build a consideration stage. The customers moves into a multiple consideration stage, and your pipeline gets it to build. So this is a flow that we propose as a framework to the HR leaders and the rest of the teams, or the CXO teams. Once you identify your critical position roles, you can the orientation between the marketing teams and the HR recruiter need to happen, and build this communication based on the multiple attributes that we spoke, and how we would be able to building from your LinkedIn communication to your JD to your emails to your phone scripts. And once that communication strategy has been built, we move into a design collaterals, assets and content and other complement communication. And then moving into, let me say, digital campaigns, where we'll track the funnel, where the hiring we could able to understand the submissions and the reporting that has been done over a period of time. So this is a hiring flow, a channel flow that we've been able to understand as in a registration flow. And internal communication has been pretty clear between most of the team. Large enterprises already figured it out. Can we able to do it in a format that can be exciting? Can we also able to, the previous speaker was speaking on the importance of vernacular. I would say there has been a strong internal communication for departmental wise, region wise, offices wise will be an extremely important context over a period of time. So these are the quick communication necessities for the internal context. Figure out your EVP. Most of the time, your employer value proposition is same across. There are multiple methodologies to arrive at it, but you can also arrive at it understanding most of the time for me, employee value proposition is around the benefit of your potential prospect and your existing employees alone. So get that context, build a process around the recruitment, marketing, and the candidate management, from the recruiting to onboarding to continuous engagement to retention. We could able to build multiple communication necessities. So for internal communication, these are the drivers which you want to run through quickly. The time is up. And we have the media challenges in terms of the communication, from your social media to your email correspondence to your intranets. First, take a list of what are the channels, available channels. Do we have enough content distribution across channels? And fill in the content strategy, and then produce the content and keep pushing it consistently. It's not a day one game changer, but over a period of time, we saw a tremendous amount of change in the overall context. So thank you so much for your time, and you guys can reach out as in required. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Bala, for the wonderful presentation on the topic of employer branding and effective internal and external employer communication. Thank you so much for your time, and stay connected with us.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks, Siddhant. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching.